Hey everybody, DCB here again. Earlier this winter, I put together a little travelogue video about picking up some fiberglass pieces in St. Louis to restore. You may remember the horrible weather I had to go through and nearly sliding off the road a couple times. It was a total nightmare, but those pieces, as well as a couple other pieces I picked up a while ago, are all done now. So this week we rented a truck to go out and deliver them. It was quite a long road trip that I strategically plotted and planned so that I would not only drop off the pieces, but also pick up new things along the route. We started at home in Sioux Falls here and then went as far north as Minneapolis and then down as far southeast as Savannah, Georgia, and then back up, through Texas and then finally straight up north back home. It was about a 4,000-mile trip through 16 states. And for some reason, we circled around Arkansas, but managed to completely avoid it. No offense to those in Arkansas, but I guess we just didn't have any business there. First thing I had to do was obviously load the truck. I tried to load it as best I could, for first in, last out. The big boy was so tall, though, that he doesn't fit through the doorway. So I had to tilt him to get him past the door, and then I can stand him up in the back. Next is Pinocchio. I actually picked him up about 2 years ago, but I didn't want to deliver him by himself, so I waited until I had more stuff. He's from a miniature golf course, and he's made out of fiberglass, so he's actually quite light and easy to maneuver. And then this is one of the Ronald McDonald's that I recently did with the new base that I made in my fiberglass tutorial video. I'm quite pleased at how the base eventually turned out. This is an extremely heavy Spider-Man. He's made out of concrete, but his right arm was cast in plaster and is super fragile. So I have to be careful with that and really pack it well with a ton of blankets and padding. I've already knocked off his hand once before getting it here, and I'm not sure why they use such a brittle material to do the arm in, but here it is. At this point, my camera stopped filming before I finished loading the truck, but I added a Hamburglar swing for my friend Tom, which I had for quite a while, but I kind of liked just having it around in my paint booth and stuff and keeping me company. And Tom just kept saying not to worry about finishing him right away. But now he's done and it's time for him to go home. And then finally, this cool litter bug garbage receptacle that I think were used in like parks and stuff. He has a spring-loaded lid on top to put your trash in. It's not a very practical piece as he's really low to the ground and doesn't hold that much trash. It's probably the reason you don't see very many of these. So our first drop-off destination is Minneapolis, but along the way we stopped at Mountain Lake, Minnesota to say hello to the A&W family. Someday I'd like to talk to the owners here about possibly scanning them to make miniatures, but I'm not sure if there would be as much of a market for them as there is for my McDonald's miniatures. And then through Mankato, Minnesota, where we saw the Happy Chef. As I was filming him, he told me this horrible joke. Did you hear the rumor about butter? Well, I won't spread it. I didn't stick around for any more possibly better jokes. Maybe I should have. And then in Minneapolis, we stopped at Time Bomb Vintage, which is a store that I started a decade ago, but I sold it to my friend Ben when I decided to get out of town and move to Sioux Falls. I really love how he's been running it, and I'm glad that I sold it to him. But unfortunately, it was closed when we got there, and we didn't have a lot of time to wait around for it to open, so we had to leave. But I still stop there a couple times a year just to say hi to the gang. And then onward to Davenport, Iowa to drop off the Pinocchio with Robbie from American Pickers. I was hoping he'd have another project for me this time, but he didn't, but that's okay. We were going to take a slight detour to Athens, Georgia to visit my good buddy Esprit, but unfortunately, I didn't plan for the time change, so the whole schedule I made up was a bit messed up, and we had to cancel that leg of the trip. But we'll be back to see him and his wife very soon. Along this trip, not just once, but twice, we spotted these Generac generators, one being delivered on a semi trailer, and the other one was used behind a Publix grocery store. And you may be wondering, what's the big deal about that? But for the past few months, I've been working closely with Generac to make these miniature versions that they use as examples for marketing at trade shows or whatever. And it was just really, really weird seeing something that I know so well from having to model it out from their blueprints to then making a prototype and molding and casting and painting dozens and dozens of these. It was just almost kind of surreal and neat to actually see it in full real size. And then the highlight of this trip, and really the highlight of the year for me, was the stop we did in an undisclosed location deep, deep south.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I like. All right.
The Craftsman. I've been following Craftsman on YouTube for years now, and we've become good online friends, but we've never actually met in person until now. Him and Craft's mama were so gracious enough to let us come by and see the whole craft shack where all the magic happens. They even made us a loaf of friendship bread and dinner, and we got to meet the crafts kid and see the whole crafts operation. They say don't ever meet your heroes, but Craftsman and the whole Crafts family were above and beyond my expectations and are truly the best people ever. I also got to go home with my own Auto 7 and Chonk vinyls, so uh, that was fun. I love to see Craftsman's evolution in his skills and what he's been doing. So if you don't follow him, go now and subscribe to his channel. You won't be disappointed. Onward to Texas to visit my friend Ethan. He set up an entire playland of his McDonald's pieces in the center of his RV restoration business. It was freakishly hot that day, though, so we didn't spend too much time there. But Ethan was a super friendly guy, and it was nice to finally meet him in person as well. After 5 days, we got back home, and it was time to unload the truck. I'm almost always restoring stuff for other people, but this is the one piece that I got for myself, the Burger King helium tank cover. Even though I do a lot of McDonald's stuff for clients, my heart actually belongs to Burger King. He looks pretty complicated though, with a lot of airbrushing and stuff, so I'm gonna have to really step up my game to fix him, but that'll be a winter project. Oh, here's a little side note show and tell. I just got this Burger King salesman sample for the Burger King pins and necklaces. It has examples of 6 of the pieces, including my favorite, the Wizard of Fries, as well as a photo of the counter display. I don't know. It arrived in the mail when I was on this trip, and I just wanted to show it to y'all because I like Burger King stuff. And then I got 2.5 carousels. First, I got a base for the newer carousel. It was part of the deal for the dome that I bought, so I don't know. Maybe someday I'll find the correct dome for this one. Here's some mirrors for the older dome, and then here's one of the bases for the carousel. It's got a working motor, and I guess it's got like a music box inside that the seller hadn't got going, but it'd be fun to get that working and see what music it actually plays. And here's a Big Mac that needs a little repair work. And then dome number 1, it's got all the pieces. A couple of the Fry Guys legs are broken or missing shoes or whatever, but I should be able to cobble together all those pieces because I have some extra ones here. And here's the second dome. This is the one that the mirrors in the bag were for. And then here's the second base. I have to say, after making the miniature carousels for a while now and becoming so familiar with all the little pieces, but never actually having the actual carousel in my possession, it was kind of weird for me to be seeing all the pieces in actual size, kind of like the generator. I'm just so used to everything being small. So that's the haul. I got 2 domes with all the little Fry Guys and McDonald's signage and mirrors. They're just in various states of attachment and condition. and then the base for the newer carousel, and then the two older bases and one set of the ride-ons. I already had a spare set of them, so I have enough ride-ons to complete both carousels. And then here are the two center poles. I only got 3 of the yellow rods that help support the dome, but I should be able to fabricate some new ones for the other dome. And then, of course, the best piece, the hamburger that goes on top. So with all the pieces that I bought on this trip and the pieces that I had and a few that I need to replicate, I should be able to put together 2 complete carousels. It's going to be quite a challenge, but I really look forward to doing it. I'm not sure if I'm going to wait until next spring to work on them or just spend the winter, getting caught up on my miniature back orders. That would probably be the best idea, even though I'm anxious to really start on these carousels now. Anyway, that was our summer trip. I think this is going to be our new thing now, where I will collect pieces throughout the year, fix them up in the springtime, and then just spend a week driving around delivering them and hopefully picking up more pieces along the way. So that's all. Thanks everyone for watching.
Darn, that's the end.
Thanks everyone for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe to this channel and follow us on Instagram or Facebook at Dustin Craftsboy. Also check out our TeePublic page for t-shirts you can buy to help support this channel, or just go to the website dcbvarietyhour.com for all the links.